Hello, welcome and thank you for visiting the Open Leadership channel. My name is Michael Breeze and on this video I'm going to tell you about the first of 4 helpful beliefs about leadership. Now, I hope you find this video useful and do stay until the end of the videos when you can find out how to access more free resources. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, it helps me enormously if you could do, because it makes it easier for me to carry on making free resources for people that need it and want it if you subscribe. But also, if you hit the reminder bell, you will get over the coming months reminders whenever I release new videos, and in time this will cover the whole of the open leadership approach, the skills, the knowledge, the tools and the methods of the approach. So in previous videos I've outlined some unhelpful beliefs and myths about leadership that can misguide you and lead you into traps. Now, if you haven't watched those yet, it is worth doing so that you can avoid some of the traps that leaders can fall into, particularly when they first move into leadership. Those two are videos 3 and 4 on this channel, 4 unhelpful beliefs and myths, myths about leadership. However, starting from this video, the channel will be dedicated to looking at more positive, helpful beliefs and then the practical tools and methods that will help you succeed as a leader. Now, in this video, I'll cover the first of 4 unhelpful beliefs. In total, the 4 are: number 1, it's not about you. Number 2, your weakness is your strength. 3, your team is smarter than you. And 4, asking questions is much better than giving answers. So starting with the first of these helpful beliefs, this video will help you see that it's not about you. To many people that I've coached, this has seemed a strange starting point, but I will go further and say it's actually not about you, it's about everybody and everything else rather than you. Often, when people start out as leaders, it's too easy for them to end up focusing on themselves and worrying too much about how they're doing and how they're looking. They worry about how they're looking to their people, to their team, how they're looking to their boss or their peers. Are they looking like bosses? Are they looking like bosses are supposed to look? Are they behaving like bosses are supposed to behave? Do they seem in control and on top of things to others? They wonder if the people in the room are thinking about the last meeting they all attended when they said something dumb. They wonder if anyone has spotted that they feel out of their depth, perhaps. Or they worry that people might spot that they're worrying too much, even that. Now, most of us have experienced some degree of distraction when we feel that we're being watched or scrutinized whilst we're doing something that requires a degree of skill or ability. So for example, some can't play that fast backhand shot on a squash court when they feel like they're being watched or observed, or their golf swing goes to pieces when a coach is with them or someone else is observing them. So some forget how to drive when they're taking their driving test. The point is that it's hard to stay fully in the game and giving of your best when you're too occupied with how you're doing. That sort of performance anxiety completely changes the way you perform. Now, for some people, when they get their first leadership role, they can fool themselves into believing that everybody is observing and critiquing their every move, scrutinizing and judging them. Now, when this happens, they create potentially a host of non-existent inner critics, causing them to second guess themselves and redouble their self-consciousness and self-doubt. This anxiety and self-focus can also cause them to become hyper-judgmental of other people around them. This may be because of the need to feel better about themselves if they can see faults in others, or simply placing the blame elsewhere in order to not have it landed on their minds, on themselves. Whatever the reason, it can lead them to poor leadership behaviours. Now, even worse, when leaders are in this judged and judgmental state, their behaviours will likely shut down debate. They'll make it impossible or very hard at least, for their people to challenge the leader's thinking or voice their own opinions in meetings or in situations where there's a bit of tension or anxiety. And beware of this, because a lack of dialogue, a lack of openness and challenge in groups and teams has been the cause of many organisational disasters. Now, leaders in this distracted state might They might miss key signals that their team or individuals within it are overstretched or struggling or suffering from some problem either at home or at work. They might not hear that a key area of their responsibility is heading for problems. They won't notice perhaps that the quiet and introverted person in the room is not being heard, and they definitely won't notice that she had the best solution for the problem that was being discussed at the time. And this lack of awareness, this closed approach that leads to lack of awareness, is potentially part of a very vicious cycle, because when we can't hear or see the problems, we're not listening, when we're closed like that, then we can't take the learnings. And when we don't learn, we're destined to carry on struggling. And so we'll keep hearing our inner critics and we'll shut down even more. It's a vicious circle. At worst, leaders that are in this anxious, self-focused, closed state of mind just might fail to give credit to a team member who deserves it, even going as far to steal credit for something their team or an individual in their team has achieved when they're talking to their own boss or others. Now, that might sound extreme to you, that might seem like an unlikely outcome, but believe me, I've seen this more than a few times over the years. And perhaps even worst of all, perhaps, that the leader in this state misses the joy and excitement of working with and leading people in an open way. They fail to fully engage their people. They fail to fully engage themselves in the team's challenges, its problems, its opportunities, its goals. They lose the enormously powerful benefits of their team for their team and their organization that open leadership can bring. So, leaders in this closed leadership approach had better look out. By which I mean that all they need to do to overcome all of these dangers that we've just talked about is switch their direction of sight outwards and away from themselves and out to the world around them they need to engage with, out to the world where the issues and the challenges exist, out to the world where their team is sat and waiting. Now, I sometimes get challenged by leaders who I'm coaching in this area who ask how they can possibly grow and learn and develop themselves if they don't focus on themselves. And to be clear, I'm certainly not advocating a lack of focus or a careless approach to your leadership development. But what I am saying is that an over-anxious self-focus is a common cause of very poor leadership and failure for leaders as well. And instead of constantly worrying about how you are looking, if you look out, if you obsess about your team, if you obsess about your team's challenges, the opportunities it faces, if you obsess about the individuals and what's happening for them, you will reap enormous benefits. Also focus on your organization, its goals, its vision, its mission. Become familiar and intimate with that. Focus on your customer, get close to your customers and the other stakeholders. Focus on the marketplace, get more knowledgeable about what's happening in the marketplace. Focus on your competitors, get that knowledge. Anything, in fact, that will make you a better and more informed leader and your team more successful. If you can do this, if you can focus outwards, if you can change your focus away from that anxiety, self-focus, if you're suffering with it, you will win enormous benefits for your team and for your organization, but also for yourself. Your personal growth as a leader will largely take care of itself because, one, you'll accelerate your mastery of new skills, new areas of knowledge, and continue to succeed because of that. And secondly, you will inoculate yourself against the draining disease of over-focusing on your personal anxieties and self-doubt, or alternatively on your ego. Now, as a final note in this video, I would offer one other thought that will help you to avoid this inward focus. And it's something I headline as beware the compare. Now, many people's inner focus and anxiety is driven by a fear that they're not as good as they should be. They're not as good as other people around them. They're not as good as their role model, as the people they think are the good leaders, or whatever else. Now, this in turn creates that inner critic again. That inner critic gets noisy and gets fed by that comparison. So, understand that comparing yourself to others is in fact a hopeless task. In effect, in reality, you're comparing your inner self, to other people's outer presentation. You, like everyone, have a better knowledge about your own inner thoughts, your fears, your anxieties, your worrying and awkward foibles. You have more knowledge and better knowledge of that than anyone else can have. Meanwhile, all you can see of other people is their outer shell, their managed presentation, who they appear to be. But everyone inside has unhelpful feelings or thoughts, fears, anxieties to one degree or another. Feeling inadequate or just different, feeling not quite there yet, is part of being human. It's not just you. So when we compare ourselves this way, it's like comparing the dirty engine compartment of your car to the shiny outer metal of your friend's car and concluding that their car is better than yours. That wouldn't make any sense, would it? And it certainly wouldn't help you. So rather than comparing yourself to others or trying to be like what you think others are like or good at, seek to be the best that you can be. We are all uniquely gifted and challenged, and it should be our mission to bring the diversity that truth offers to the world at large, to bear in the world. To bring all of ourselves, warts and all, to the party, in order that the world does have that complete diversity. Don't hold any of you back. Be the real you, the best real you can be. So, and as Theodore Roosevelt once said, or is quoted as saying anyway, comparison is the thief of joy. If you really do need something to compare yourself to, though, look at how you were, what you were, how you were in the past, let's say a year ago, in certain key abilities and knowledge areas that you want to focus on. That way, you should always be able to see positive change. So it's a much more positive, reassuring, helpful comparison. But also, it'll enable you to make balanced judgment about what areas that you do want to work on more, where you can see other areas for improvement, but avoiding that comparison to what you think other people are good at or capable of, or just who they are. So hopefully you can see why belief one that is helpful to you as a leader is it's not about you. In the next video, I'll share a related belief to this one, which is that your weakness is your strength. If that sounds odd, please do watch the next video to learn more. So I hope this video was useful and interesting. Let me know your thoughts and comments below in the video description area, and please remember to subscribe to the channel, as it makes it much easier for me to keep producing free content for everyone who wants it, as well as it will give away the whole of the Open Leadership Approach free of charge to you, particularly if you click the reminder bell to be told when new content is released each week. Now you can get access to more free resources, as I promised at the start of the video, by going to openleadershipbase.com. That's openleadershipbase.com. There you will find excerpts from my book and other resources. There you can also join the Open Leadership Base forum and get involved in conversations with me and other leaders. You can share some experience, ask questions, as well as letting me know what your thoughts about the content you'd like to see there or here on this channel. Also, remember, if you are impatient for an overall view of the Open Leadership Approach and you don't want to wait for the videos as I release them over the coming weeks and months, you can buy my book, Stepping Up, How to Be Great in Your First or Next Leadership Role, at Amazon. The link's in the video description if that's the approach you want to take. But I want to stress again that I will be giving all of the content and more away free of charge on this channel in the coming months. So it just remains for me to say thank you once more for visiting the Open Leadership channel, and I hope to see you next time.